just having the strength to tell my story, and not just my story, but other stories that I have not experienced, but I think needs to be heard, that has shaped a lot of who I am as an artist. And it's also shaped a lot of these things that I want to expose in life and I want to heal throughout people, more specifically women in general. So what could have broke me didn't. It did not. It did not at all, because essentially my art saved me. I am NaTosha DeVon. I've been acting less than 10 years. So yes, it's a very baby career. And I'll be honest, I did not want to do this at all. But because when something is ordained, it's naturally going to be easier than any path you have for yourself. And I found that once I submitted to that and said yes, the doors, the doors that opened up, the opportunities I've had, the things I've been able to do in such a short time. Like 8 years is not a long time, but I've managed to get, my bachelor's degree, my master's degree in acting. I've managed to be in several different projects and on committees and these boards. And I think if I'd did life my way, I wouldn't be as happy as I am today. I always say that the premise of my art is to expose and heal, but you can't heal if you don't see the parts that are broken. So for me, I want to be very transparent as a person, as an artist. Like, these are things I go through, and these are ways that I've healed. And maybe someone watching that or reading that or listening to that can say, hey, that's something that I experienced. That's something I can relate to. As a child, I was molested. I was molested for years. And then as an adult, when I spoke about it, I wasn't protected. That isn't easy. It isn't an easy thing to accept. It isn't an easy thing to go through. But I did. And I had the support of my sisters and the support of my therapist and my classmates. I realized I could either let that control everything about my life, which up until that point, it controlled a lot. It honestly did. It controlled the way I dated. It controlled the way I just moved throughout space. It controlled the type of art that I could do. So it was affecting my career as well. I think we hear these inspirational people who get up and they're like, this happened to me and now I'm a great person and I make $75 million a year. How did you get there? So my stories is the how. How did you get there? What happened after? Let's talk about the time when you were so numb you couldn't move. Let's talk about the time when you forgave your attacker, like fully forgave him. And let's talk about the guilt after forgiving. There's a lot of guilt in healing. A lot of people don't talk about that, but there's so much guilt in healing. Because if I heal, is that saying I was never hurt? But that's not what that's saying. And I think people don't talk about how there is such a struggle. And it's a struggle in not wanting to do the thing that will heal you because you don't want to let the pain off. Like, you don't want to give it a free pass. And so a lot of my work talks about that. A lot of my poetry is super, super political. I am an activist. I am healing myself because I am able to write these things down and get a better understanding of how I am personally affected. The way it personally affects me allows me to then go back and focus on my own healing. For my audience, I feel that showing my truth has often, in a lot of cases, allow them to speak up about their own. I want my audience to feel, and I want them to be inspired to go to therapy. I want them to be inspired to seek healing, but I can't bully them into that. And that's super important, and it's such a fine line. I can't bully them into making that decision for them. All I can do is show how it's affecting me, show how I've healed from the process of doing these certain things and these certain steps, and hopefully they can take that with them. As I stated before, writing and poetry has literally saved my life. So I just want to give you some tools and things that you can do to write as a release and as a healing tool and kind of a therapy session for yourself. So I like to do this thing called a number poem. So a number poem is like creating a poem, but having 1 through 10 reasons as to why I'm good enough, or 7 things about me that I want to improve. These poems are extremely easy because it allows you to stop and look at each one of these steps that you've written in poetic form, and you can go one by one and work on that and work on yourself. I'm going to give you an example of how one of those poems would look like. 10 things I know about myself to be true. 1, I'm a poet. 2, I'm a poet who's afraid of my own voice. 3, I'm a poet who's afraid of my own voice, so I keep quiet in public places, keep quiet amongst the spaces I've kept quiet about the rape. 10 things I know about myself to be true. 1, I'm a poet. 2, I'm a poet who's afraid of my own voice. 3, I'm a poet who's afraid of my own voice, so I keep quiet in public places, keep quiet amongst the spaces I've kept quiet about the rape. 4, I repeat myself often because I'm pretty sure no one was listening the first time. Didn't hear the no, my stops, the refusal to his body. 5, sometimes I feel more ghost than human, more species than she, more victim than survivor. 6, I once bought a bottle of cologne for my lover. In gratitude, he said thank you. In secret, it wasn't a gift. The truth is, I've never met a man that doesn't smell like my attacker. 7, I only like it rough because I correlate sex with pain. So pull my hair. Put your hands around my throat. Why aren't you slapping me? My first lover slapped me into submission. This is what love should feel like. Right? 8. This poem sounds familiar because it reminds you of your sister, your best friend, the freshman girl alone on the bathroom floor you chose not to defend. How uncomfortable this must make you. 9. I don't tell my stories often because I'm pretty sure dead horses have already paid their dues. 10. This is the part of the poem where I realize I could have stopped at 9. You must forgive me. I have a habit of forcing my presence onto others the way he forced his body onto me. Thank you.